Good day, students. Welcome to this JSS 1 Social Studies lesson on independence and post-independence Nigeria. October 1, 1960, Nigeria's Independence Day, is one of the most important dates in Nigerian and African history. That day, the green-white-green flag was hoisted for the first time and Nigeria's nationalist leaders assumed power from the British. However, independence brought not only freedom but also enormous challenges: ethnic tensions, the civil war, military coups, and the ongoing work of building a united, prosperous, and democratic nation. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain the nationalist movement and the key independence figures, describe Nigeria's independence celebrations and constitutional arrangements, summarize key events of post-independence Nigeria, explain the causes and consequences of the Nigerian Civil War, and assess Nigeria's progress since independence. Let us begin. The road to independence. Nationalism is the political movement demanding self-governance and independence from colonial rule, based on a shared national identity. Nigerian nationalism had several phases. PI War phase, 1920s, 1930s. Herbert Macaulay, 1864-1946, father of Nigerian nationalism, founded NNDP, Nigerian National Democratic Party, 1923, and the Lagosian press as vehicles of political resistance. Post-war phase, 1940s, 1950s. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Zik of Africa, returned from USA education in 1937, founded NCNC, National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons. 1944, fierce anti-colonial journalism, West African pilot newspaper, Igbo but built a pan-Nigerian movement. Obafemi Awolowo, founded AG, Action Group, 1950, advocate for Yoruba interest and federalism, wrote Path to Nigerian Freedom, 1947. Ahmadu Bello, Sardauna of Sokoto, founded NPC, Northern People's Congress, 1949, represented northern interests, deeply respected in the north. Constitutional conferences, Richard's Constitution, 1946, Macpherson Constitution, 1951, Littleton Constitution, 1954, introduced federalism, final independence constitution negotiations in London, 1957, 1958, 1960. Independence, October 1, 1960. Nigeria became independent from Britain on October 1, 1960. First Prime Minister, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, MPC from the north, in coalition with NCNC, the National Independence Government. Governor-General, Nnamdi Azikiwe, representing the Crown, head of state in the constitutional monarchy. Constitution, Westminster-style parliamentary system, Prime Minister as executive head, Parliament as legislature. Nigeria's flag, designed by Taiwo Akinkunmi in a competition, green stripes, Nigeria's agricultural wealth, white stripe, peace. National anthem, original anthem Nigeria, We Hail Thee, 1960-1978, replaced by Arise O Compatriots in 1978, then surprisingly replaced again in 2024 when President Tinubu restored the original 1960 anthem. Post-independence history, key events. First Republic, 1960-1966. Regional tensions intensified, three main regions, North, West, East, dominated by NPC, AG, NCNC respectively. Census crisis, 1962-1963 disputed census results, each region suspected the others of inflating populations to gain more federal seats. 1965 Western Region crisis, disputed elections in Western Nigeria, political violence, Operation Witi, banning of political opponents, collapse of order. January 15, 1966, first military coup, young Igbo officers, Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu and colleagues, killed Prime Minister Balewa, Ahmadu Bello, Sardauna of Sokoto, and other northern leaders. The coup was perceived in the north as an Igbo coup against northern leadership. July 1966, counter-coup, northern military officers led a counter-coup, General Yakubu Gowon became head of state. Anti-Igbo pogroms, 1966. Thousands of Igbo living in northern Nigeria were killed in ethnic violence. Over 1 million Igbo fled the north to the eastern region. Nigerian Civil War, Biafra War, 1967–1970. Cause: Governor Odumogu Ojukwu of eastern Nigeria declared the Independent Republic of Biafra on May 30, 1967, in response to the anti-Igbo violence and distrust of the federal government. Gowon's response: federal government launched a military offensive to reunite Nigeria, one Nigeria. The war, 30 months of brutal conflict. Biafra was besieged. International support for Biafra was limited. Mass starvation, kwashiorkor malnutrition. Images of starving Biafran children shocked the world. Between 1 to 3 million deaths, mostly civilian. Biafra surrenders, January 12, 1970. General Philip Effiong surrenders. Gowon's famous No Victor, No Vanquish Declaration, a call for national reconciliation. Aftermath, Reconstruction and Reconciliation Policy. Gowon's government invested in rebuilding the East. Former Biafrans were reintegrated into the civil service and military. However, economic marginalization of the Southeast remains a grievance. Military and Second Republic. 1975, Murtala Muhammad coup overthrows Gowon. 1976, Murtala assassinated. Olusegun Obasanjo takes over, completes transition to civilian rule. 1979–1983, Second Republic, President Shehu Shagari, NPN, Presidential Constitution, US style. 1983, military coup, Muhammadu Buhari overthrows Shagari, citing corruption. 1985, Ibrahim Babangida overthrows Buhari. 1993, June 12 election, see Democracy Lesson. Babangida annuls result. Ernest Shonkan's interim national government. Sani Abacha seizes power. 1993–1998, Abacha regime, most repressive military period. Kensa Waiwa executed. 1995, Moshood Abiola dies in custody. 1998, international isolation. 1998, Abacha dies suddenly. June 8, Abdul Salami Abubakar leads transition. 1999, return to democracy, Fourth Republic, Olusegun Obasanjo elected. Recent milestones. 2005–2007, Paris Club debt cancellation, Okonjo-Iweala/Obasanjo negotiations. Nigeria paid off $12 billion, had $18 billion forgiven, freed resources for development. 2011, Jonathan wins election, first from Niger Delta to become president. 2015, Muhammadu Buhari defeats Jonathan, first peaceful power transfer from ruling to opposition party. 2023, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, APC, wins presidential election, sworn in May 29. 2023, Joppa crisis, mass immigration of educated Nigerians to UK, USA, Canada, Australia due to economic hardship, insecurity, and dissatisfaction with governance, a significant brain drain. 3 examination questions. Question 1. Name 4 key figures in Nigeria's independence movement and state the contribution of each. A. Herbert Macaulay, father of Nigerian nationalism, founded NNDP, 1923, first organized political resistance to British rule through the press and public campaigns. B. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Zik of Africa, founded NCNC, 1944, nationalist journalism, West African pilot, became Nigeria's first president in 1963. C. Obafemi Awolowo, founded Action Group, 1950, advocate for federalism, premier of Western Region, wrote Path to Nigerian Freedom. D. Ahmadu Bello, Sardauna of Sokoto, founded NPC, 1949, premier of Northern Region, united Northern Nigeria behind independence on its own terms. Question 2. Explain the causes of the Nigerian Civil War, 1967–1970. The Nigerian Civil War had multiple causes. A. Anti-IGBO violence. The January 1966 military coup, perceived as Igbo-led, triggered a northern counter-coup and massive anti-Igbo pogroms. Over 1 million Igbo fled the north to eastern Nigeria, creating fear and distrust. B. Ojoku secession. Eastern Region Governor Odumogu Ojoku declared the Republic of Biafra, May 30, 1967, arguing that Igbo people could not be safe in Nigeria given the violence they had suffered. C. Resource conflict. The Eastern region contained most of Nigeria's oil. Discovered in commercial quantities in 1956, the federal government was unwilling to allow oil-rich territory to secede. D. Constitutional breakdown. Failure of the Aburi Accord, January 1967, a negotiated settlement in Ghana that would have given more autonomy to regions, because the federal government refused full implementation. Question 3. Assess Nigeria's post-independence progress, naming 2 achievements and 2 challenges. Achievements. A. National unity. Despite the civil war, Nigeria maintained its territorial integrity. No victor, no vanquished. Reconciliation enabled Biafran reintegration. B. Democratic consolidation. Since 1999, Nigeria has maintained 25+ years of unbroken civilian democratic rule, including the landmark 2015 peaceful power transfer. Challenges. A. Corruption. Persistent corruption in the public sector has undermined development. Major funds meant for infrastructure, education, and health have been stolen through procurement fraud and embezzlement. B. Security. Boko Haram insurgency, Northeast, from 2009, banditry, Northwest, IPOB separatism, Southeast, and Niger Delta militancy continue to pose security challenges and hamper development. 3 common mistakes. Mistake 1. Saying Nigeria was independent before 1960. Nigeria's independence was on October 1, 1960, not before. Some students confuse the earlier constitutional changes, 1946, 1951, 1954 constitutions, with independence. These constitutions gave increasing self-governance but not full independence. The British still controlled defense and foreign policy. October 1, 1960 is the only correct date for Nigerian independence. Mistake 2. Saying the Civil War was only about ethnicity. The Biafra War had multiple causes. Ethnic violence was one factor, but also crucial were the oil resources in the eastern region, economic interest, the failure of the Aburi Accord, political failure, military calculations on both sides, international involvement. France supported Biafra, Britain and USSR supported the federal government. Reducing it to an Igbo versus Nigeria war oversimplifies a complex historical event. Mistake 3. Forgetting the role of women in nationalism. Women were not passive during the independence struggle. Margaret Ikepio, Fumaleo Ransom Kuti, Hajiya Gambo Sawaba were prominent female nationalists. The ABA women's riots, 1929, showed that Nigerian women could organize mass resistance decades before independence. Include female nationalists in your answers. Summary. Independence, October 1, 1960, PM Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Governor General Azekai, flag designed by Taiwo Akinkunmi. Nationalist, Herbert Macaulay, father of nationalism, NNDP, Nnamdi Azikiwe, NCNC, West African pilot, Obafemi Awolowo, AG, Federalism, Ahmadu Bello, NPC, Northern Unity. First Republic, 1960 to 1966 Census Crisis, Western Region Crisis, January 15, 1966 Coup, Nziogo, July Counter Coup, Anti-Igbo Pogroms. Civil War, 1967 to 1970 Biafra declared May 30, 1967, Ojoku, 30-month war, 103 deaths, mass starvation, Federal victory January 12, 1970, no victor no vanquished, Gowon. Post-war, Matola coup 1975, Obasanjo transition 1979, Shagari, 1979 to 1983, military coups, Abacha repression 1993 to 1998, Fourth Republic 1999, 2015 power transfer, 2023 Tinubu. For homework, A. Name 4 independence figures and their contributions. B. Explain 3 causes of the Nigerian Civil War. C. What does no victor, no vanquished mean? Attempt a quiz on your LMS. October 1, 1960, the day Nigeria chose its own destiny. Learn from this history. Visit Litech Academy at academy.litech.com.ng. Until next time.